This video is going to be targeted towards the people that feel behind in life. And I'm not going to lie, I feel the same way myself, as it's so easy to just compare and look at people on social media and see where they're at, how old they are and what they're doing with their lives. You know, they may be living more fun of a life than you are when you're on self-improvement, trying to improve your life, and your life seems so depressing in a way. Because I get that. It's so easy to compare yourself to people online because what they're doing online compared to what you're doing, it's so different. Well, not many people are really on self-improvement. They're probably just living their lives, enjoying them, which is not wrong. It's not a bad thing, but we want to actually improve our lives and actually do something meaningful. Whether it be pursuing content or actually trying to change people's lives or change our own lives. You know, it's okay to feel this way because I've always felt this way. Ever since the beginning of high school, I saw these guys. I always thought they were, you know, better than me. They had something that was meaningful, or at least they had a lot going on in their life. And I especially felt this way when I couldn't drive. I felt like I was missing out on all these events, all these hangouts with all my friends and all the people that I knew because they had cars and I had to take the bus every day to school. And I really felt ashamed because I was the guy that didn't have a car all the way till the very end of high school, where I actually got my car. And what really happened was I wasn't missing out on much. Just because those guys had a car before me doesn't mean that they're doing better than me. I look at it as they're in a different path. They're on a different stage in life, whilst I'm in my own lane. I see it as everyone is in their own lanes, and I'm in my own lane. And I shouldn't be trying to swerve into other people's lanes just to try and fit in, because it's obviously going to lead to a crash. Like, think of that as an analogy, because if you try and swerve into people's lanes, then you're eventually going to crash. And you're going to be worse off from where you started. And I've always felt this way because I feel like I could be doing better. I really feel like I could be doing better. When I see myself looking at other people, looking at the cars they have, or at least looking at their social life, they got girlfriends, they actually have an attractive girlfriend, and here I am still a virgin in 2026 at 19 years old. I feel like I'm missing something. Like, what am I doing that could be to where they are? Because they're actually living a good life. They really are. And I'm living this life, which may sound depressing to some people, but I actually feel fulfilled, but also a little bit empty inside. A little bit in the back of my mind. And it's so easy to just look at yourself and towards other people, because you don't know how old they are. I mean, they could be way older than you. They could be way younger than you. You don't even know what they're doing. And I always guessed what they were doing. I always assumed, you know, oh, they got lucky. Why are they, how'd they get that girl? How are they, you know, enjoying such a good life? But it's so easy to just assume things when they could be so wrong and not true. This always comes back in my mind because it really is so easy to just feel behind. Like you're doing something wrong when you really aren't. You don't know if you're doing it right or doing it wrong, but you always assume the worst and think that you're way behind when you're really not. And you're probably feeling the same way in your life right now. You're probably roughly maybe a few years younger than me, maybe you're roughly around the same age as me, watching as I document my life on self-improvement. And that's okay to feel this feeling, because if we didn't really feel behind, then we really wouldn't be taking action and actually trying to improve our lives. But instead we'd be comfortable and, you know, we'd be fine where we are and not really care much about our lives and live on and be in the same position we're at many, many years down the line, maybe up until we're like 30 years old. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to feel this way, but it's also, I feel like it's a good thing to feel this way because you're actually going to take action, you're actually going to do something with your life, instead of not really feeling that you could be doing something and not feeling that you need a sense of urgency. Because I always see my life as like, I gotta do stuff, I gotta do something every day that's purposeful. I actually have to do something that's meaningful. I need to do something that gets me from point A to point B. I just come to a realization lately that every time I compare myself to everyone else on social media, you know, everyone posts these amazing wins, these amazing moments. You know, they went to a concert, they went to a party, they took pictures of their cars in some of the best, you know, lighting settings or whatever. They always glimpse the best moments, but they never post anything for the bad moments. They never post the struggles or at least the other side of the spectrum. Given that social media is basically taking over, everything's online. It's so easy to just get caught up and think about how bad you are compared to everyone else that's necessarily you think is doing good, when they really aren't. They're realistically just in their own lane, and I wish I knew that beforehand, because I could have saved myself a lot of stress instead of worrying or overthinking how these people are ahead of me or what I need to do to make my life better than theirs, because my life has nothing to do with theirs, but I still cared anyway. And yeah, this is like a little lesson to myself, because I feel like I should just focus more on myself instead of focusing on other people that could care less about me. What they're doing has nothing to do with me, and why am I comparing myself to them? So if you're feeling this way, feeling behind, you're not as behind as you think you are. But it's okay to feel this way, because if you're not feeling this way, then you're not going to be taking action. You're not going to do the things that you have to do to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be in life. So it's good to feel this way at the same time. So don't feel discouraged. I promise you that there's going to be something good at the end. And I may not see any results right now myself, but I'm going to keep being consistent, keep posting, keep being disciplined in my life, and I'll get to where I want to be eventually. This is only just the beginning. I'll see you in the next video.